Hello everyone, my name is Matt DeLacruz. I'm General Manager of Raeco Rents. I'd like to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule today to join us for the Intro to Web-Based Remote Monitoring. Our presenter today is Yemi Muftau-Lediju from Netronix. In this 45-minute webinar, we'll cover the following. Conventional remote monitoring solutions, introduction to web-based application monitoring and the Internet of Things, the Netronix solution, a data logger, gateway, controller, and more. Getting started with Environet cloud-based applications, and ask the expert. Your questions will be answered. Yemi is a technical solution specialist at Netronix, specializing in remote monitoring applications. He works closely with companies and their technical teams to efficiently take advantage of the many powerful features of Netronix remote monitoring solution while providing impeccable customer support. Yemi studied electrical computer engineering at Temple University in Philadelphia and has experience with computer hardware, microcontrollers, and other IoT-related devices. He enjoys educating the environmental protection sector on available IoT technologies and how they can benefit from them. Because of the large number of attendees, we'll be muting the phone lines. If you have a question, there's a chat tool built into GoToWebinar. Please enter the question and we'll make sure to get an answered for you. Now I'd like to turn the microphone over to Yemi. Welcome, Yemi.
Hey, thank you very much, and thank you all for showing up and taking the time out of your days to hear little old me talk. So you know, if there's without any further ado, I'm just gonna get started. If that's okay with you, Matt.
Yes, go right ahead.
Alrighty. So we are actually here to talk about the next big thing, and as Matt alluded to earlier, it's the Internet of Things, or IoT. Now, starting from, if I'm looking at it from an electrical engineering or a tech point of view, when you hear Internet of Things, it's one of those buzzwords, those key terms that kind of gets your attention. Once you hear it, you're like, okay, I'm listening. Because here's the thing, Cisco estimates that the Internet of Things market, the Internet of Things business or sector of technology is estimated to be a $14.4 trillion industry moving into the next 10 years. Now, what does that mean? That means that, you know, this is something that people want to get into. This is something that intrigues people and can make people a lot of money. But what is the Internet of Things? Like, what is this? The premise of IoT, or Internet of Things, is to take a device or take something that doesn't necessarily have to function with the Internet and putting it on the Internet and putting it on the cloud. Now, some of the earliest, you know, examples of Internet of Things could be if you look at you know, iTunes, where you had your music library and you had, you know, either this you know, case of CDs that you had locally with you, and it worked. I mean, you had the CDs and you'd be able to plug it into your CD player or your cassette player or whatever and be able to listen to your music. But what iTunes did was allow you to have all of that music in the cloud. Now you don't have to carry those CDs around anymore, and because that music's on the cloud, then you can then create playlists easily and all that stuff. So you're taking all of that local hardware, putting it on the cloud, and because you can add playlists and all that stuff, now you have added functionality to the Internet of Things. It's functionality to that device. But moving on. So at Netronix, we're in a bunch of different sectors, right? So there's environmental monitoring, which we're going to talk a lot more of about today. But we're also in transportation systems, energy management, building automation. But each one of these sectors have their own specific data. You know, in environmental monitoring, it's like you know, air quality or wind speed, wind direction, or you know, heat index, you name it. And then transportation, it's like, where's my driver at this particular time? So each sector has their own different parameters and has their own different data sets. Now, we are now able to then have all of these, all of this data, we have it all in one central cloud, which allows us to do a couple things. Well, to have it on the cloud is what we call data fusion. But what data fusion allows us to do is to analyze the data. And I'm not just looking at the environmental data now, I'm looking at everything in a broad picture. I'm able to analyze the data and make real-time decisions based on this data. And that's what we call data analytics. Now, because of this, moving forward in this $14.4 trillion industry, we're now able, because of this data analytics, to provide more than just environmental monitoring or more than just energy management. Now we're able to provide all of that plus all of this information that we're getting from the data analytics, and that's what we can package and also sell as value-added services. Now, value-added services, that's a term that, most people use, and that just means money. That just means, I have other services that come along with what I do. So, sticking with the environmental monitoring, because that's what we're here to talk about. There's different types of devices out there in the field, from gas monitors to pressure, weather sensors, you name it. And with a conventional remote monitoring solution, how would you do it? You would let's say if I had a Luft weather station, I would find that weather station, connect it to a data logger, and have to program that data logger, obviously. If I want satellite location, you have to reach out to that, pay some money, get a modem to be able and make sure that everything's working fine as far as with the communication with the data logger. Then I have to have some sort of server off-site or on-site or whatever. And if I wanted to be able to see that data real time, I'm either going to have to either write my own software, create my own software, my UIs, or buy something off the shelf. Now, this works. It does work. It works the same way. It works like carrying CDs around worked earlier in the 2000s or late 90s. It works. But here's the thing. There's a lot of variables in this equation. You have to have a data logger from this company. You have to have a modem from a different company. You have to reach out to a satellite company. You have to get a server, and that's a different company. And then your software could be from anywhere from being like a senior design college project to something that costs you a whole bunch of money. So there's a lot of variables, which means that there's a lot of points of failure, right? And here's the thing. You have off-the-shelf parts here, and this is what we call a SCADA system, and I guarantee you can look up hundreds and hundreds of examples of SCADA systems being hacked. They're very easy to penetrate. There's not that much security built into this. And most importantly, here we go. If I wanted to, let's say, add a dust monitor to this solution, or if I wanted to replace my weather station with a dust monitor, what happens is the solution does not work. Now I have to reprogram to be able to listen to that, to collect data from that dust monitor. So at the end of the day, it's not plug and play. It's not cost effective because I'm going to have to repurchase and reprogram and resend people out there. It's not scalable because it doesn't grow with me. I can't have one specific device and then add another device. No, it doesn't work like that. I have to start the process all over again, and it's definitely not secure. So what is the solution? Obviously, I work for Netronix, so this is our solution, and this is the solution. So, any third-party sensor or monitoring device, you plug it into our Thiamis. The Thiamis reaches out to our proprietary cloud, and now you're able to view data real time on our web-based interface. You notice in the conventional solution, there's different variables, there's different devices that are provided by different companies. Here you have one solution that's all from Netronix, which has a couple advantages. First things first, you have a one-stop shop for troubleshooting. If there's something that isn't looking right, you can reach out to us, and now we are able to look through, all the steps and be able to provide you with valid information, as opposed to having a data logger from Campbell Scientific, a modem, from Linksys or whatever. You have a server from a different company, and you have no idea where to start looking. Secondly, we can guarantee the security of your solution. So the Thiamis, the data that's being sent to the cloud, it's got security keys with that and encryptions, and from the cloud to whatever computer you're at, there's got security keys and encryptions as well. So you're getting, and very your data you're getting, the integrity is verified. Number one, and number two, when it comes to that support and that back-end support, we're able to almost guarantee that because it's our solution. But moving forward, we'll kind of go through each piece here one by one. So third-party sensors or monitoring devices. Obviously, we're talking about environmental sector, so air quality, water quality, weather, noise, you name it. And we work with a lot of the major device manufacturers out there, from TSI to Ray, and you name it. All right. So the Thiamis. So in January, we rolled out the Thiamis 1000. Now the Thiamis 1000 is an extremely, extremely powerful device. This allows us to not only pull data from monitoring devices in the field, but we're also able to have that bidirectional communication. We'll touch a little bit more on that in the demo. But that bidirectional communication really makes it an IoT solution because of the fact that it adds functionality. All right, but going just to touch it on a few of the devices that are inside of this Thiamis 1000. It communicates to the cloud via 3G. It also has, GPRS as well. But it also has the ability to connect to a Wi-Fi network, and which does come in handy in remote applications, because that way you can connect to a satellite and be able to send data to the cloud as well. It's Bluetooth enabled, Zigbee, which is a mesh solution, and we'll go into that a little bit. And all the antennas are built in. I don't know if you guys have had any experience with our older Thiamis 820G model, but you had to have external antennas with those. All the antennas are built in here, and if you have like a metal enclosure type of application, we can provide you with an external antenna. The ports. So this Thiamis device actually has the ability to connect 3 RS-232 devices. It's able to do RS-485, ASCII or Modbus, and RS-45 allows a lot more devices. UMV protocol, SCI-12, USB, has 2 USB ports on it, and it can also interface with newer devices that have Bluetooth and Zigbee. It also has a temperature sensor, pressure sensor built in, a accelerometer. It also has a solar charger built in, so you can through the Thiamis charger, you can connect the solar panel and be able to charge the battery, and drain the battery depending on if there's sunlight. And also it's got 8 gigs of storage built in. So basically that's overkill, and that's going to last you for basically the lifetime of the Thiamis, or of your project, or the lifetime that you have the Thiamis. Here's how it looks. It's got a quick release, and you can see the USB ports and stuff like that. The external antennas if you need them, and that's the manual. You notice that there's no buttons on there. Basically what you do is you plug in power, you plug in your monitoring device, whether it's RS-232, RS-45, USB, whatever, and then you configure it on Environet. So, moving on to the cloud. Now the cloud, because this is an IoT solution, the cloud is a backbone of everything. The cloud adds intelligence and allows us to develop value-added services. And this is the backbone of it. So in the cloud, you can then do your averaging. You can do, you can set alerts and really add functionality to your monitoring project. This is an example of the Zigbee Mesh that I touched on earlier. So each Thiamis in the field has a direct link to the cloud. But let's say Wi-Fi via Wi-Fi 3G. But let's say none of these are available, or I'm sure you guys have used your cell phones before, and you take a couple steps to the left, and no service or whatever. In this application, let's say a Thiamis loses connection with the cloud. With the Zigbee Mesh built in, it will by itself try to reach out to another Thiamis close by and reroute the traffic and send that data to the cloud via that other Thiamis. So this is what we call a self-healing, self-configurable device. So you as a customer do not see this happen, which really just adds redundancy, that redundancy to know that, okay, no matter what, I should have some kind of connection to the cloud. And if that doesn't work, or let's say there's no Thiamis close by, we also have to keep in mind that we have 8 gigs of storage built into each Thiamis. So let's say a network goes down, something out of our control happens, the Thiamis will still continue to collect data from that device, and once that connection is back on, it sends all of that data to the cloud. And cool. And finally, we have Environet, and this is where you're going to be spending most of your time. This is where if you have a project, you would check your alerts, and you would configure your device. This is where you would be able to add mins and maxes and different parameters, which we'll touch on in a little bit. So here's how it looks. Environet is able to detect what the screen size of your device, and it will configure itself to best fit that screen size. So it's a different experience on a cell phone, it's a different experience on an iPad, but it customizes, it adjusts itself to be the best possible experience. Let's see. So basically, what we do is we go through our vendors, we go through our partners like Raeco, and we provide that to them, and that service and support on the back end, is what we pride ourselves on. And because we have one solution as opposed to many other devices connected, because the Thiamis, the cloud, and Environet is all ours, we could provide you, number one, better information, and more importantly, we can fix your problems, before in a very timely manner. So remote monitoring as value-added service, we help out our partners and also that customer service. Here are a few examples of our older 820G in the field. Pictures of the 1000s are coming out very shortly, so don't worry about that. And now we're going to go to the demo. All right, guys. So here we go. This is Environet. So you would log into Environet the same way you would log into Facebook or or LinkedIn or anything like that. Each individual has their own each individual has their own login, their own password, and they're linked to a specific company. You can be linked to multiple companies, doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, Environet is built to be sort of like Facebook or LinkedIn, where each person puts in their credentials and they're logged in, and they're able to log in and configure their own page the way they want to configure their page, or configure their page on the things that that are important to them. So here's the dashboard. It's the first page that pops up once you log in. Now you can see that, you know, I have on this specific demo account, I have 2 total Thiamis. I have one of them that's reporting, and that's the one that we're going to use for this demo. But imagine if I had, you know, 50 of them, right? It starts to be a little bit cluttered if I have to then sort through each one, you know. So if I have 50 units that are reporting and they're you know, putting data out, and I'm only concerned with a few, I'm only concerned with 3 of them, right? Now I can configure my dashboard to just show me immediately I log in what the things that I'm concerned with. So I can go here to you know, my little widget tab here. I can add a graph widget. So let's see, look for one that's see. All right, that one, and I'm going to choose. Oh, this one has a dust track, and so I'll choose that, and it also has a question. So now I can log in here, and I can see a live updating graph of the parameters that I'm concerned with. You know, so every single time I can go to maps, I can go to messages, I can come back to my dashboard, and you will see that it's still configured the way I last left it. You know, I can make it smaller. I can also add a chart widget to kind of show me, you know, actual parameters, and show me, you know, a little bit of a trend of what's going on that device. So now I'm getting useful information without actually drilling in. So I could log in, look at my dashboard, and move on, instead of going, you know, digging in to, you know, to digging into each tab and kind of going for it. So that's just a, you know, a feature. You can have as many widgets as you want. If you're concerned with a lot of devices, you can, you know, configure out whichever way you like. At any time, I can click on a parameter, and it will take me directly to that monitor page with that parameter graphed on the screen. This is very easy to use. You know, it's designed to be as easy as possible, as smooth as possible. No one had to show you how to use Facebook. No one had to kind of show you how to use LinkedIn. And this is the same way. You know, within minutes, you're an expert. So looking here, I can see my data graphed. I can graph up to 3 parameters so it doesn't get cluttered. If I scroll down here, it shows me what devices are connected, tells me these, you know, the serial numbers. You can see I have a new and improved dust track 8543 from TSI. Shows me my map where the device is. It also shows me, you know, what my battery voltage is. You know, I'm connected to my Netronix Wi-Fi here in the building. And I'll show you how to connect the Wi-Fi and all that stuff. Actually, I can show you right now. So this is the monitor page, and this is where a lot of people then spend most of their time, you know, with our interface. But here's the fun stuff. This is what makes it an IoT solution, because, like I said, Internet of Things, you're moving it to the cloud, but you're also adding functionality, that wouldn't necessarily be there if it wasn't on the cloud. Here's an example of that. Looking here at this quest temp, this is one of our test quest temps, so it's only reporting one thing right now. I can go here to add statistics, and I can actually choose this data point, and right now I can have a 15-minute average, 5-minute average. You know, I can do a min or a max. So now that I'm adding functionality, this quest temp, I am now getting a better experience. I'm getting a better quest temp experience because of Netronix solution, because of this IoT solution. Now, if I hit save, you notice here if I go back to the monitor page, in the view, this parameter, it's going to say dry bulb, 5-minute average, will now be available, and I'll be able to graph that, download the graph, and you know, have and be able to now I'm adding functionality. Now it's it's a better solution, it's a better experience because of this cloud. Yeah, and here's just a graph here. I want to show you really quickly. I can, set a table, plot as many, set up as many parameters on this table. You can download the CSV file right away as well. Now going back to what makes this IoT, also with the dust rack. So now we've had, Netronix has a pretty good collaboration and partnership with TSI. So we're able to add more than just, averaging and stuff like that to this solution. We're now able to go here. You can see I can turn on and off this device remotely. So let's say something happens where the pump gets blocked and Environet tells me, okay, look, the pump's, there's something impeding the pump, or there's something going off, or if I know it's going to rain, I can just shut off the device from anywhere in the world. Not only that, I can scroll down here and see all these calibration settings that I can change, at any time. So now all of these settings that you would have to be in front of this device to do, I can now do it from anywhere in the world. And that's the true meaning of IoT. Now this device isn't just something that I'm receiving data from. Now this device, it's basically just like taking this dust rack and putting it in the cloud. Which, and at the end of the day, that's what we need. We don't need, data. Most of these devices are pretty accurate. Most of these devices will get you the same amount, the same kind of data, around ballpark, the same values. But the ones that give you data readily, that have data readily available for the customer, is the one that's going to be used the most because data is essential, and people want their data. Another thing you can do here that we've added is, STEL alerts. So I can set up STEL parameters for, PM1, PM2.5, and if I, once I set this up, I can say 5 here, and I can create an alert based on this, and I can now have STEL added to my dust rack package, and that's another way that we're adding functionality to this solution. I can show you here, this is the Thiamis configuration tool here, and you can go here, you can put in your Wi-Fi. Like I said, the Thiamis has a pressure sensor and a temperature sensor built in, so you can turn those off and on based on however you'd like. It's telling me it's connected to Wi-Fi already, and it has a map right over here. Because we're indoors, I'm doing it manually, but if you wanted to do it automatically with the GPS inside, you can just click on GPS there. So hit save, boom. And now alerts, it's kind of the same thing at this point. You can create an alert just by clicking on there. Name that, say, dust alert. We choose this demo account, choose the device, choose the parameter. Now you can see here, it's showing, it knows it has a dust rack connected. So it's showing me, all the parameters that dust rack reports, all the parameters that the Quest Temp reports, and all the parameters that the Thiamis reports. So like I said, the temperature and the pressure sensor. So for now, we'll do mass concentration greater than a value. You can add that. You can add a message and choose who you want to be subscribed to that. Also, right here, notification level. So because these alerts are being sent from the cloud as opposed to in a conventional solution where they're being sent from the device itself, we're able to then choose whether you want it to be email or both, or text message or both. Now you can look over here, notification level. That's important because I can now choose how I want to be alerted on any notification level. So let's say my boss creates an alert and chooses me over here, and I'm subscribed to it, and he says I want this to be a critical level. Now if I go to my profile here, go to my account, my notifications, I set how I want to be alerted on each notification level. So if it's an info level, I just want an email. If it's a warning level, maybe you can shoot me a text. But if it's critical, I want an email and a text. So like I said, it really kind of gives you that option of configuring it the way you want to configure it. And because it's being sent from the cloud, you now have a global alerting and global notification system. And that's basically, the gist of Environet. So we're going to try to open this up for questions and go from there.
All right. Yemi, thank you very much for that presentation. That was very nice. If you have any specific application questions, feel free to give us a call. You can reach me at 866-RENT-EHS or 866-736-8347. You can also reach me by email at mattd@raecorents.com. Let me put that up. So we've got a couple questions that have popped up on the question list here. One guy asks, does it support the Landtech QED landfill gas monitor? Maybe Yemi can kind of answer that. They write drivers for specific instruments. The Landtech I don't think is supported at this point, but Netronix will always look at adding new instruments and new drivers. I guess a note on that, we have used the 4 to 20 out in the past on instruments. So there are ways to get older technologies to work with this. The other one, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, very well said. Exactly that. We are absolutely open to looking into devices that you want us to use. Yeah, just you can always reach out to us, and we'll get back to you and we'll talk.
The other comment that was made about the dashboard, they really enjoyed the personal choice of the dashboard, meaning that an operator and a supervisor could have different dashboards. Maybe you could speak to that a little bit, Yemi, about the dashboard and maybe just how you could, you've got different roles that people have.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question here. So if you look here on this tab, can you see my screen?
Yeah, let me change.
Awesome. So if you look here on this tab here, you can see users. And because I'm an administrator, it's kind of different, for me to show. But here you can see, I have someone here, Amy, who is the owner of this account, and I have someone here who's a manager, right? Or sorry, who's a user on this account, right? I could go here if I wanted to invite a user. It asks me, put the person's email, choose the organization, and choose the role, right? So I have an owner, which we try to recommend that there's only 1 or 2 of these people. These are the people that have full access. These are people that can go in and actually, assign alerts to people, and you can add managers and stuff like that. Configure your devices, all that stuff. You could also, have a manager, and a manager is it's a step below the owner. So the manager can't really add any more managers, but they can add users, and they have access to be able to configure devices. They can they can't set up partnerships. They can't link companies together, and which is good because we want only a few people to do that. So now, as a manager, you can set up your dashboard to specific things that there's different managers, and let's say you have a air quality sector or a weather sector. So a manager in the air quality sector can set up this dashboard to see what's going on in just air quality. So you're looking at PM10, PM2.5, and all that other stuff, while the person that's in the wind or weather sector can look up other stuff that concerns them. So you can configure it based on what you want to do. And I think that that's a powerful tool because it streamlines, it gives you, it streamlines your time, right? So you're now able to log in, see what you need, and get out and get back to work, or or take the rest of the day off, get a coffee break or something.
All right, thanks, Yemi.
No problem.
Let's see. Let's see. So if you want to know more about the technologies we supply, you can follow us on social media. Put lots of good technical tips on my blog at Raeco, blog.raecorents.com. You can follow us on LinkedIn and Twitter as well. There'll be a recording of these sessions, which are out on YouTube. You can search for Raeco Rents on YouTube and find all our videos. If there's some topics you'd like us to cover in our webinars, please send me an email with the subject. We have access to lots of product and process specialists. Please let me know at my email at matt@raecorents.com. Our next webinar topic will be presented by Randy Sleggs from 3M on IAQ monitoring made simple on Friday, January 27th, 2017 at 9 o'clock from 9 to 10 Central Time. At this point, if there are no further questions, our presentation will conclude, and thank you for attending. Oh, I got one more question that has come up. How much is the cost for a unit?
That's a phenomenal question. Our list price is for Thiamis 1000 is a little under $1,000. So you know, that's the list price. Now, obviously, you know, with discussions and applications and stuff like that, you know, we can talk. But you know, that's the list price. And you know, because this is you know, a remote solution, we have a service you know, attached to that. Now, depending on your application, your monthly service cost could be from about you know, $100, $110 a month to you know, around 60 bucks a month. So depending on your application. But you have to keep in mind, though, that you don't have to reach out to AT&T. You don't have to reach out to a different, you know, satellite company. You just buy the Thiamis, you pay the service fee, and everything is included. So that's included with the, you know, the cell service, Wi-Fi. It's also, what's also included is, you know, hosting of the data, data readily available for multiple users, for unlimited users, setting up limited alerts, and most importantly, the support on the back end. It's all included in that service fee.
And I'll make one more comment to that. It does, the cellular service can also be put to sleep or hibernate or put on hold. And you can pull those out of hibernation or hold pretty rapidly, and the monthly service fee drops considerably when you do that. So when not in use, you can do that and save some money there.
Exactly.
All right, well, thank everybody for attending, and we'll see you next time.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.